slide everything off the shelves, start up. Like, you know, I didn't care. Like, I didn't care about the fact.
On this stop to the journey to Jah-Isha.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, this idea has been heavy on my mind and I just have to get it out.
Today's subscriber shout out goes to, thank you so much for your support and joining the journey to Jah-Isha. Like this video and comment below for your chance to be featured in next week's subscriber shout out. I'm sure we've all been there when an idea comes into your head and just lives there rent free until you finally decide to serve the eviction notice. Now, I'm not sure exactly how this is going to come out, but if you want to find out with me, watch my next video where I'll have it in the background.
So, in all honesty, I actually recorded this video numerous times before.
If you've read from the title, today I will be talking about therapy, and I'm excited because this has been a huge part in my healing. And once I posted that on Instagram, I received a lot of feedback and a lot of questions, and then I realized a lot of people don't know a lot about therapy. There are a lot of misconceptions, and I asked my Insta fam, why aren't you in therapy?
Before we get too deep, I just want to clarify that a therapist is a licensed counselor. Most of the times they do talk therapy and help you through your issues. Now, a psychiatrist is a medical doctor. Most of the times if you go see psych, they will prescribe you some medications or give you a diagnosis. Well, I never completed this video because I just didn't feel it. I just didn't feel like the time was right, and I was scared. I was scared of what people would say. I don't want people to be taking my advice and it's not working for them and then they blame me. It was like imposter syndrome. I had a whole bunch of different ideas going through my head that prevented me from posting this. However, I spoke with my therapist, and we will be talking about therapy today, and she kind of gave me permission. You know, she let me know like it would be a great idea to vlog and document the actual journey versus reflecting on it once it's all over. Well, around the time we first moved into this new house, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but if you don't, you should, because I post in my story a lot. But one time I went to the gas station with my little cousin, and she went inside the gas station and bought a whole bunch of different snacks. And one of the things that she bought was a candy taco. She didn't realize it was as expensive as it was. So when she tried to return it, I guess they told her she couldn't return it. So she came back to the car with a $5 candy taco, and then she was telling me they wouldn't let her return it. Mind you, Mina, Zeph, and Morgan were all young. Well, Morgan, you know, she was young, but Zeph and Naya was probably like 4 or 5 months. And Mina was still like 1. And I had all of my children in the car with me, and I became enraged. Like, they trying to take your money. Like, they not gonna let you return a candy taco. So I kind of went off. I'm like, give me the taco. Took the taco, went in the store, and my attitude, my energy, my vibe, all of it was just left so far off. And I told the lady, like, I need my money back. I put the taco on the table and was like, I need my money back. Period. My little cousin bought this, and she said y'all wouldn't let her return it, and I'm pretty much here to collect. And that was my energy. And the lady, when I came in the store, I already had it in my mind what I was gonna do if there was some pushback. Like, I'm gonna slide everything off the shelves, start fucking shit up. Like, you know, I didn't care. Like, I didn't care about the fact that I had babies in the car. You know, I did care, but I didn't care. You know, I didn't care about the fact that I'm building a brand in a business. Like, I was ready to risk it all for a $5 candy taco for my baby cousin, because like nobody about to take my cousin money, period. Like, you know. And after I calmed down, the lady explained that there could be a return, but it would have to be done through the manager, and the manager was working with another customer at the time, a whole bunch of different things. And I was explaining to her, like, no, I just feel like you trying to take advantage of my little cousin, because she's little, but she's not that little. She's like 13, 14, so she understands the manager is with somebody else. Wait, like, that's not how that went down. I already know. But long story short, they ended up giving the money back. And when I got back in the car, I kind of like came to a realization, like, wow, I was really about to risk it all for a $5 candy taco. I was like, yeah, I need help. Like, something is not right up there. Like, it just wasn't me. So I spoke with my therapist, and she encouraged me seeking further help. So this is my second stop for the day. I've been here for hours. This is a behavioral health like center, hospital, whatever. And it's taking forever to be evaluated, but they have one person in front of me, so let's see what happens. I got accepted for a program at one mental health hospital, but they didn't accept my insurance, so they referred me to another mental health hospital, and they declined me too. However, I was able to apply for state funding, and that's how I'm being treated. So right now I am in therapy. I go to treatment twice a week. I go Thursdays for group and then Fridays for individual. And my therapist told me, like, you know, I'm making a lot of progress, and have I thought about, like, you know, discontinuing my sessions. And I'm not ready. I feel like I'm not ready because I kind of want to wait till this whole divorce thing is over with, so I can have time to like settle in it before I, you know, stop going to therapy. I'm getting a lot of On top of that, I am in a program, and it's like a 3-part, and we're in part 2 of 3 right now. So I really want to finish the program to get all that I can get from it. So yeah, I didn't feel ashamed about it at all. I didn't feel like I was put in therapy before God. I didn't feel any of those things. I just knew that I'm going through some, and I just need to handle my business, because I am a believer that mental health issues are real, and I've seen, you know, what it looks like for someone to go off the deep end and be in a manic state and just be and do things that aren't who they are. And I feel like, you know, there's many different imbalances and causes and reasons for that, but I feel like personally, for me to have seen and to know and to believe it, and to kind of like see myself like heading that way, not too far, but just like enough for me to say, let me get my shit together before this shit get ugly, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I didn't care about what it looked like, what it felt like, and any of that. I was like, I got 3 children who need me, so I have to handle my business, period. I became a little bit more open about going to therapy on my Instagram, and I was receiving a lot of questions from my following, like, how do you get into therapy, what's what, just pretty much wanted to know the ins and the outs. And I took a poll. I took a poll on Instagram, and I asked everyone, what's stopping you from getting therapy? And these were some of the results. And so I finally want to address them for the first time in like forever. I'm so sorry, guys. I know I do this all the time, but I know it's been a while, but I'm better late than never, right? As you can see, a lot of people are being stopped from seeking therapy because of payment and monetary funding issues. So my best recommendation would be, well, first of all, if you have a job, look at what resources your job have, because I remember at the Home Depot, we, the employees, got 6 free sessions per year, per issue, per member of your house. So that's pretty much free therapy. That's pretty much free therapy. And different companies have different policies. Sometimes they'll do 1 session, 2 sessions, or whatever the case may be. If you're enrolled in college, there's a student counseling center. There should be a student counseling center, and they do free therapy sessions. I remember at Georgia State, it was probably like 5 a semester or something like that. I may be wrong. Also, if you're on like government assistance, you're more likely to get government assistance with mental health. Just look at the local mental health hospitals near you. Google some resources. Call your insurance provider if you already have insurance. See what their options and plans are. Someone said they didn't want to be admitted. And this is funny because you don't want to be admitted. That's like a very real statement. But at the same time, like, no, they're not just going to be like, yeah, come get therapy and then lock you in a white padded room. Like, that's not how it works. Chances are you won't get admitted unless you're homicidal, which is you're thinking of someone else, or suicidal, which is thinking of killing yourself. So they'll ask you those 2 questions and answer honestly, guys. Don't be scared of getting admitted and then it becomes something it didn't have to be. You know, it's really not a laughing matter. And a couple people don't know where to start. So with therapy, I recommend you start yesterday, because it can be a process finding the right one. When you're looking for a therapist, you want someone who kind of has the same life outlines as you, like to an extent, because it's not like your best friend, but you don't want a therapist with completely opposite values and views from you. You want someone who you can kind of feel comfortable taking advice from, because you know in certain ways y'all do live a similar lifestyle. For example, if religion is a big thing for you, you might want to find a therapist in the same religious practice. If you're a part of the LGBTQ community, you might want to find a therapist along in that in that community too, because they can relate a little differently and provide feedback that's more realistic, coming from a place of experience by chance. You know, you just want to find a therapist that kind of, you want to match, like a dating app. You just kind of want to match. And once you match, it still may not work, but the only way to find out is to actually have your first session. The first session is never, tell me about your childhood. That's never the first session. The first session will most likely be, okay, so what's going on? Like, what do you like? What are you into? Tell me a little bit about, you know, like, it's just like a icebreaker. And in this session, it's really important for you to interview the therapist as well. Ask them questions, guys. Ask them questions like, how many children do you have? Are you a parent or are you not a parent? Like, do you know what it feels like to want to be a parent? And, you know, like, just little things like that. Ask them about their religious practices. You don't have to ask them anything personal, but just kind of get to know them, vet them. Like, what are your opinions about X, Y, or Z? Just to kind of see what they will say. If they're telling you something that give you that gut feeling like, she on something different, then chances are she on something different, and you might want to find another therapist. What is therapy like for me? No, let me stop. I like therapy. It's cool, you know. I cry a lot. But my friend, I was talking to my friend the other day, and he asked me if I was getting therapy because of what I was going through with my divorce and everything. And what therapy helped me to realize, well, first of all, the answer to that question is no. Well, yes and no. But what therapy helped me realize, and I kind of came to this conclusion on my own with some like guidance from things that I learned in therapy, but the hurt goes deeper than my husband or my ex-husband. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was hurt when I met him and I didn't really know it. If you guys don't recall, around the time that I met him, my parents were going through some things in their marriage. I don't want to speak too much on that for their privacy, but they were going through some things in their marriage. We had some mental health issues come up in the family. It was super heavy. I just had Morgan. Her dad and I weren't on good terms. I was still in school trying to adjust to being a mom and going to school and working on top of dealing with what my parents had going on. And then my baby father, even though we weren't on the best terms, like family is family, then he was murdered. That was very traumatic because the only time I experienced loss hit that close to home, it was my great grandmother. And she was transitioning for a while before she actually passed on. So it wasn't like a sudden and unexpected tragedy. You know what I'm saying? So that really did something to me. And after that, I got back into therapy. I got therapy before for some family issues, and then I stopped. And then when he passed away, I got back into therapy because I just could not bear. And yeah, that was rough. But and then like around that time is when I actually met and really like, you know, solidified everything with my ex. And he was very helpful with helping me get through what I was going through. But at the same time, with me going to therapy now and looking back and reflecting, I realized that I was running from what I was going through because I didn't want to really have to sit with what I was going through because it was just so heavy. And he was just making me happy, and you know, he was making me feel better and just an escape. So yeah, fast forward to a few years later, and now I'm getting therapy for what I experienced with him. So therapy is important. You know, you don't want to repeat the same cycles. You kind of want to see, address, confront, resolve, and equip yourself with what you need to prevent the same things from happening or the same results from occurring because of your reaction to reoccurring situations. If that makes any sense. It makes so much sense to me right now. But yeah, a group therapy session for me, I get on Zoom and there's a couple other people in there, and we pretty much talk about a general concept and how we can apply it, different examples of how it occurred in our life and what we did to kind of maneuver. It's pretty cool. A lot of the time in group therapy, I don't speak too much because it's not that I'm nosy, but I like to kind of like see, I'm a watcher. I'm like a people watcher in a way, in a good way. But I like to kind of see how other people apply these theories and tools into their life and how it kind of helps them. And I just kind of like to, like I'm a thinker, you know? And then they're like, so what you think, Jah? And I say something and everybody be like, wow, yeah, that's great. And I'm just like, yeah, you know, like I had some time to really think about my answer. So I like group therapy. It's really cool. Individual therapy is nice too. I go in person. My therapist and I have a great relationship. It's really cool. I just really like it. We do some mindfulness, which is pretty much like mini meditation, just to kind of like clear your head before the session start. We do that with group too. And then we just kind of go in. Like, I like individual therapy because in the beginning, I'm able to just pour out everything that has happened. And sometimes it takes up most of the session. But my therapists do kind of like bring me, like when I'm going on about things and the way I can, you see, I get so flustered even thinking about it. But she helps me. It helps, guys. And then when I leave, I'm able to walk away with something, you know what I'm saying, to kind of like use. Damn, am I making sense? Let's move on. So my diagnosis, I was diagnosed after the whole taco situation. shortly after the whole candy taco situation, I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and it wasn't like, I don't know why I can't look at the camera right now. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just like, this is hard for me, but I knew it was something, so that diagnosis wasn't surprising, you know, but just to kind of like hear it and to like slap a label on what I was feeling, it didn't make me feel like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I try not to talk too much about it or address it because I don't want to be a victim. That's my problem. I never want to be looked at as a victim. So a lot of the things that I go through, I just kind of like, I don't even victimize myself. So I don't give other people the opportunity to victimize me. But at the same time, it's not about being a victim. Like, I came to this conclusion, but it's not about being a victim. It's about being aware of the fact that what you just went through is real shit. Like, and there's no way around it. And I feel like, and I could be wrong, but this is my idea, but I feel like with depression, right? And I'm gonna tell you guys some symptoms in a moment, but with depression, like, I have this scar on my cheek, right? One of these sides. Like, I have this scar on my cheek, and it's a physical scar, but emotional scars are real. And I look at this scar every day to the point where it doesn't even bother me now. You know what I'm saying? But if it was like a crazy scar on my left titty, every time I take my shirt off, if I wasn't comfortable with it, you know what I'm saying? Every time I take my shirt off, it will be an issue. So with emotional scars, like, even though all the trauma and hurt and shit that I've been through happened way back, I don't look at it. So when it is time to look at it, it's a problem, you know? And if you don't ever look at and address it, the scar tissue builds up, right? Until it becomes, anything that builds up over time becomes an issue. If you have plaque in your heart, it's not an issue for the first couple of years, but when it builds up, it becomes an issue. And I feel like when you don't address things that you should have addressed, you know what I'm saying? And it builds up and becomes depression. That's how I feel, you know? And the other day I made a reel, and I was crying on a reel because it was the first time I actually sat down with myself and just kind of, what I did was I just thought, like, because, damn, I'm all over the place with this, but keep up with me, guys. So I was doing good in therapy and everything, and I had a really bad week, and I'm starting to get to the point where I understand that when my cycle is about to come, my anxiety and my depression kind of flares up. But my cycle wasn't supposed to come, and my depression was on me heavy. Like, you know, depression was on me heavy. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, what's wrong? Like, I don't want to be feeling like this. Like, it's frustrating, like, you know? So I just kind of did one of the things that I learned from therapy, which was like, just kind of like allowing yourself to feel, just be in a moment, just sit with yourself. And I sat with myself and I thought about, when was the first time that something hurt me that I didn't address? So I went back to that place, and it was really like emotional for me, because at that time, you know, I was really young. And don't start making assumptions, because I'm not being specific about what it is, and that's not for any reason other than I'm not ready, one, and two, to like protect my privacy and the privacy of the people who I love. But in that time when that traumatic incident happened, I didn't cry. For me, my instinct to reacting to trauma is not like freaking out and crying. It's like calm, okay, strategic, how are we gonna get out of this situation, bing bam boom, it's done, never look back. Like, that's my mental when it comes to traumatic events. So I kind of went back in that time, and it was really like I should have been broken. You know, I should have been on the floor crying. I should have been sobbing, and I never did. So I kind of did that for myself. You know what I'm saying? In a way, I got justice for me by allowing myself to experience and flow the things that should have flowed at that time. And like, depression is not like you're always depressed, just different kinds, there's different levels, different severities. But it's not like you're always just super sad and wanting to do some things to yourself. That's not like, it looks different for different people. And for me, when I do get into a little depressive space, it's hard for me to do the things that I love to do. Like, the bed is like a magnet. I just want to lay down. I really have to push through every day. I do be having thoughts like, damn, I don't want to be here right now. And not in a permanent way, but in a way where like I just want to run away and just be alone and by myself and in a closet or under a rock. Like, I don't have an appetite, terrible insomnia. I be sad. Like, I just don't be myself, like my social bubbly self. I'm really withdrawn. It's just miserable and frustrating. My baby's here. Hey, Morgs. Okay, close my door, please.
Good.
Thank you, baby. She always motivates me, guys. But yeah, it's very frustrating, and for me, like, I'm very aware. So I'm like, damn, I know this is what this is, and I don't want to feel this way. So I try doing things to kind of shake it, but it's like a wave. It's like a wave. You just kind of gotta ride it out. Anxiety is different. With the insomnia that comes from the depression, my anxiety gets terrible. Shortness of breath, tight chest, tingling fingers, crying, panic, fidgety, just really uncomfortable and on edge. And it looks different in different people, in different circumstances and situations. So never discount what someone else is going through because it's not what you imagine it would look like. You know what I'm saying? Just be respectful and give them their space. With anxiety, I try really hard not to panic, because when you do start panicking, that's when it becomes like from anxiety to like an anxiety attack to like a panic attack. It just escalates, and I never want to go there. So when I feel myself getting like to that point and then the tears start coming, I'm like, oh shit, wait, the tears, it's time to stop, breathe, pull back, go outside, take a walk, do something. Like, I get desperate at that point because I do not want to go into panic. Once you panic, it becomes like an attack, and that has happened to me probably like a good 3 times. The last time it happened was over the kids' room, but that's a story for a different day. That shit stressed me out. Things that I do to cope with my anxiety and depression, I like to do things that satisfies me in my own little way. Like that thing that I did earlier today with the backdrop. I'm not feeling like anxious or depressed, but it was in my head and it won't leave me alone. And it's in my room because my room has the best audio for now until I get my microphone. So it was in my room. So every day I'm looking at it and it's just like driving me crazy. And I just had to go outside and handle that business. But yeah, doing things that you enjoy doing. Writing, journaling helps significantly. And watching a show, you know, just taking a nap, different things. Sleep is like the #1 thing that'll help you with anxiety. And it's hard to fall asleep sometimes, especially when you have insomnia. But a lot of the times you have anxiety. Well, for me, a lot of times I have anxiety. It's because I didn't sleep. So yeah, sleep is important. And there's a couple different things that you can do to cope as well. I'll list a few over here. I feel like it's really important, right? For me, and I'm gonna keep saying that because I feel like it's really important for me when I get to those points of like nothing is working, I call out to God, guys. Like, I've been through a lot with my religion and spirituality and everything, and I'm on like a whole new path. I'm not really ready to share about that yet, but I have been making steps to getting back to what feels right within me. And when I get to that point, I just, God, please help me. Like, cry out to God, praying more. Even my therapist recommends that as like a tool to cope, a coping tool. I was gonna say mechanism, but yeah, praying, just talking to God. Sometimes praying is hard for me. I don't really know what to say, so I'll get out my journal and start writing out my prayers, and everything just flows better for me on paper. I mean, if you feel stuck in prayer ever, try it. Like, whip out your prayer book and start, dear Lord, and go ham from there. Everything else will come after that line. So praying, calling out to God definitely helps. I'm learning that a key element in living a soft life is to treat yourself the way that you would treat others, and to just be gentle with yourself and stuff like that. And in those moments where I find it really hard to do that for me, I look in other places for validation and encouragement.
Godmother and from a friend, and I'm just so happy that you've overcome so much, and you did it with grace, and you stayed faithful, and I love you so much. You have so much coming. This is only the beginning for you.
What your future do hold, you know? I'm proud of you. And don't fuck all that shit.
The same way, it doesn't matter, life is going to throw us all so many different obstacles. Never let them see you sweat. You know, mommy got your back all day, every day. You know what I mean? And woman, like, when you was going through whatever you was going through, nobody knew. Nobody knew you. You know? And I love that about you, because it never took away who you really are. You know, you never stopped being true to who you are because of what you was going through. And I'm happy that you was able to be there for me through your tough times. You know? And I just want you to know that I'll always be here to encourage you to be the entrepreneur that you are, as I always have. And I thank you for being a good friend to me. I thank you for being a good person to yourself, because when I watch you on Instagram, you inspire me. You really do. And I told you that at my baby shower, like, you give me a reason to post. When I watch you happy, knowing what you're going through, like, what am I sad for? You know? So I appreciate you, as we all do here. And you keep growing and glowing. Because can't nothing stop you.